Hi, good evening. I'm Miguel Miranda, and if you're like me, you have some kid in your life, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, that you've noticed is pretty familiar with technology. I myself have an 11-year-old godson, Ian, who's in sixth grade, and he is an absolute whiz when it comes to technology. He can create mini games and entire servers on this game called Roblox. Um, but he's more familiar with that than a multiplication table. And that kind of started begging the question to me of where do our students fall when it comes to education standards in today's society? Across the United States, test scores in math and reading have dropped significantly in the 2020s in comparison to 2010s, with a decline that began before the COVID-19 pandemic, but was significantly worsened by it. The most dramatic decrease was observed in lowest performing students and the lowest funded areas around the country. Currently, the United States is placed 16th in education across the world. Now, what are we comparing these numbers to? So, in 2012, the National Assessment of Educational Progress reported a record breaking score for students across the United States in math and reading, where students placed or scored 285 out of 500 on average for reading and 263 for math. Sorry, other way around. 263 for reading, 285 for math. In 2020, those scores dropped 4 points in reading and 9 points in math. Now, what does that tell us? So that tells us that there are different factors affecting our students today that they weren't experiencing back in the early 2010s. So what has happened? We need to look at the issues so that we can come up with a resolution, right? So when you look at today's challenges for students, we're facing budget cuts where for fiscal year of 2026, the current administration has slashed funding for after school programs, for resources for public schools by $4.5 billion, roughly 70% compared to fiscal year 2024. And since the start of the year, the Department of Education started with 4,100 employees, and the same department reported a drop to 2,183 employees as of March in 2025. So, what does that say, right? Um, I think that says that more funds need to be allocated towards our students, towards our education. Um, the decline in math and reading is more than just a statistic. It's a warning sign about what the future looks like for our students that are struggling, but I don't think it defines where we're going to be in the future. As long as we can commit to the goal of improving our educators uh, and curriculums across the country, we can turn this into a turning point for American education and bring us to where we need to be the best education in the world.